Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I have the good fortune to be interviewing Mitch McGinley, founder of Boutique Fitness Broker. Mitch, thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started?
Oh man, it's the windiest path ever, and you never could have bet on it in a million years, but here we are. Worked in hotels, got tired of getting yelled at, went back to school, got an MBA, started working with someone who was flipping hotels, and then we got presented with the opportunity to buy our favorite yoga studio. And it was a dream that my wife and I had always had. The timing was perfect. We wanted to start a family, and so we did. We owned this yoga studio for 6 years. A couple years in, I started doing some consulting work, working with Mind Body, is a big software company in the industry, teaching in their university program all across the world. I got to go to London and Sydney, and then we sold our studio. And all of my friends started asking me for help with selling our studio. And so I turned it into a thing, and it's blown up, and here we are.
Well, congratulations. I am sure the longer version of that story could be in a book somewhere if it isn't already. So you are now, are you acting as a business broker for these studios? Are you a coach? Are you a consultant? Tell me more. How does it work?
I'm not sure how different all of those things are. And the legal definitions around broker are very weak, to be totally honest with you. And so I like to call myself an advisor. I am genuinely willing to give advice to anyone who wants to hear what advice I have to offer. And so my goal is always just to share everything I know about planning your exit and selling your business, and getting as much as you possibly can for your largest asset.
Awesome. And what types of businesses are you working with?
I mostly work with boutique fitness. That's my love. I love yoga and Pilates and gyms and the like, spas, things like that. But I've sold every type of business there is. And so, whether we're talking about a retail store, a restaurant, or a hotel, or plumbing, or HVAC, I mean, I've done it all. And there's a lot of really common similarities between the process, between all of them. And if you just prepare a little bit for it, the process will go so much better, and you'll make so much more money.
Well, we all want more money. So what are some of the biggest mistakes these studio owners are making that you're able to help them fix?
I mean, the simple ones are not having their financials cleaned up, not having their HR stuff tied up, not being clear on sick pay and PTO and all of those things that are probably the most tedious things that all of us deal with in owning a business. But it's really important to have all that buttoned up. And then, a lot of times it might actually be some hiring decisions. It might be that you as the owner and the founder are too involved in the business day to day, and you need to back yourself out of it a little bit so that a buyer will believe that the business will survive without you. That's a really important one. And then, another one that I find is people are afraid, they are scared to death to talk about selling their business. And it shouldn't be that way. It's the most normal thing in the world. you don't need to expect to own your business for the rest of your life. It's like having a job. You're going to want new challenges. You're going to want a new business. You're going to want a new place. I mean, we just moved to Barcelona. Why not? Totally different from what we were doing before. But that's human nature, right? It's like everybody changes their job every 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Like that's normal. Buying and selling businesses should be normal too. And so I want to encourage the business owners and entrepreneurs out there to be a little bit more vocal about their intention to sell, the timeline, what their goals are. Put it out to the people who are around you because they make the best buyers. They're the ones who know you and know the business and trust you. And when you're putting up an ad on the internet, it's really difficult to earn that trust. So, best case scenario, you're leveraging an internal candidate for some external candidate, and you get the one that you want with the price that you want. And that's how it should work.
Your lips to God's ears. So obviously there was a significant hiccup in the boutique fitness industry during COVID. What have been some of the trends you've seen post-COVID?
Huge emphasis in Pilates, a lot of shift towards strength training in general. I think the industries that had the hardest time recovering from COVID were the bigger group class, like big yoga classes or bar. And Pilates is small group and everybody's got their own machine and they're however far apart, and it's strength training and it's a phenomenal workout. If you haven't done Pilates, give it a shot. It'll rock your world. But that's really been the darling of the industry coming out of COVID. And there's some Pilates adjacent modalities like Legree, that I'll spare everyone the details of all of that, but it's, I think those are the next big trends.
You've helped a lot of boutique business owners successfully exit. Can you give us an example of one of them, kind of where they were when they found you, and then that magical sale kind of that you were able to help them with?
Oh, I've got so many great stories because it's always such an impactful moment in people's lives. But the one that happened this past January was the one I'm most proud of. This gentleman got introduced to me, and he had been talking to one prospective buyer for the last 18 months. And that buyer had just been dragging him across the coals for 18 months. And he was so exhausted, but he didn't want to lose that buyer because he'd come so far. And I was looking at him and I was like, I promise you, I will get you 20% more. 5 million instead of 4 million. I promise I can do it. And he said, okay, I'll give you 4 days.
No time pressure or anything.
It's like, oh, 4 days. Like, oh, this is not like selling a house, right? It's like, this takes months. And so I called everyone I could. Within 4 days, I got him an offer that saw him walk away with $600,000 more after my fee.
I bet you he was very happy that you pulled that off in an incredible situation. How early should studio owners start thinking about exit?
I mean, if you're a fan of the 7 or 8 habits of highly successful people, habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. There's no time that's too early. As long as it's brewing back there, I think is what you always want. But I mean, real practices, it's within 2 or 3 years is ideal. 3 years is better than 2. 2 years is better than 1. The more time you have, the more runway you have to make some decisions and have a meaningful, lasting impact on your valuation.
And you mentioned keep it in the back of your mind. So for owners who aren't looking to sell yet, what can they do now to improve their studio's value long-term?
So many things. Be open to having those conversations right now because you're not looking to sell. But if you want to sell to a private equity partner in 5 or 10 years for a whole lot more, start talking to those people now. Ask them what they want to see. They might want you to grow in a different city or in a different neighborhood or, show X, Y, and Z that really isn't on your radar. Especially if it's someone that you're hoping to partner with. A lot of people try to exit and sell 80, 90% and keep going and then sell 10 or 20% later. like finding that partner is really hard to do. And so that takes a long time. Fix your books. Make sure your books are lined up. Like if you've switched bookkeepers or CPAs, which most people have done, it's like you need to make sure that all of that's done. Highly recommend hiring a professional firm to do a quality of earnings, just to give you, a proper understanding of what your genuine cash flow looks like, and what then a valuation might look like after that. Because once you have an understanding of how that works, it'll change the way that you look at your business, the way that you look at your investments, the way that you look at acquisitions. It might be that you could make a couple of acquisitions before you sell, and that would triple or quadruple the valuation of your company, spending very little money. And so some of those things are really, really fun to play with. And so if you still got gas in the tank to grow, those are the really fun conversations.
In your experience, what separates successful studios from those that struggle?
Most of the time, the owner has a background in corporate America that brings some sort of expertise to this industry.
What's one thing you wish more fitness entrepreneurs understood about the buying and selling process?
It's largely based on how profitable you are.
And you've helped so many businesses. What is your biggest challenge now?
Parenting. Oh gosh, my biggest challenge. There's so many. It's, what, each deal is so personal, and to anyone who owns a business, when you sell your business, the transition itself is always bigger than just selling the business. No one decides to sell their business in a vacuum. It always accompanies a life transition with your kids, or your parents, or a move, or something like that. And so it's just always a bigger deal. And so it's such a personal thing, and I'm such an empathetic person. Like I really am. That I feel all the feelings. And so when I feel all my clients going through all of these huge things, wanting to deliver for them in the best way possible can really wear me down. But I'm getting better at it, and having boundaries, and, but at the same time, like, that's the hardest part. It's just that my work is very much a huge emotional roller coaster.
I bet. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
That when it's done right, everybody wins. The seller wins, the buyer wins, the community wins, the staff wins, like everything. If keep these businesses alive, and keep these people employed, and keep the community going to the same class where they connect with their friends.
Awesome. For our folks watching or listening who want to learn more, where's the best place to go to learn more about you?
Everything is at Boutique Fitness Broker. All our social media, my email is Mitch@Boutique Fitness Broker. Feel free to send me an email. I would love to talk to you. There's never any pressure of any kind. Happy to do a free valuation for you. Huge fan of this show, Seth. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. I really appreciate the quality of the info that I've always received here, and it's an honor to be on.
Well, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. It's been Seth Greene here with Sharkpreneur with Mitch McGinley, a boutique fitness broker. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.